Hello, this is Marilen Crump, expert dreamcatcher, business developer, and marketing strategist. And today I am going to be speaking with Anastasia Elliot. We're hoping to do this on a regular basis. This is going to be a chat about mental health for creatives. I know that for me as a creative, it is always one of those things that sometimes you neglect because you're in such a flow. And in other times, right? Like you want to do it, but then how do you balance trying to get things done on a deadline and trying to maneuver your just capacity to think while you're taking care of everything else and other people and yourself. So let's chat with Anastasia, see like some of the practices that she does, and then we'll just chat all about it. So hello, Anastasia, how are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
I am doing good because you always remind me about self-care.
I have to say, I'm kind of crushing the self-care this week.
Are you really? That is so good. What's the best thing that you're doing for yourself right now?
The best thing I did for myself this week was to take the weekend completely off and have a no phone, no talking about work rule
Whoa.
for the weekend, which is very incredibly rare for me. And I was just feeling so overwhelmed with how much I had to do. And I had wound up, I just had a really productive week last night and was like, all right, I'm going to Washington, D.C. I'm going to completely disconnect and go to the museum and like fill my soul with art because when you're constantly creating and outputting art, you have to take those days to input art.
Wow. Okay, so when was the last time you did anything like that?
um, well, I don't know. With COVID pandemic time, it was so weird because it wasn't as easy to, I mean, there was a lot of time off and like not wanted chosen time off. So
Right.
that definitely feels different than taking the day off to go to a museum. So I honestly can't remember the last time it was like a chosen day off like this, like definitely pre-COVID.
Yeah. So for things coming back to like a new flow, new normal, whatever it is that we're all trying to do right now, where do you find that you get knocked off your balance?
Definitely the fact that I work for myself and that people need things from me all the time and don't necessarily always understand how long certain things take. And so it's really easy for me, since I am definitely the Enneagram 3 overachiever, wanting to accomplish everything, and I can't feel good until everything's accomplished. It's really easy for me to work from the time I wake up to the time I go to sleep and not set those boundaries for myself and just be like, oh, if I keep working, I'll just get more done and I'll just have more to put out and have more and more and more and more and more. And I can do that for a little bit, but that definitely takes a toll on me. And then, yeah, I would say that's probably the thing that knocks me off my balance the most. And then starting to also sacrifice things that I know are good for me, like daily movement and meditation, and being like, well, if I skip that today, I could get this much more work done. So I
Oh, I
have,
know.
yeah.
I find that with my cardio.
Yes.
Oh, do I really need to do that today? Wait, I can get this done. Uh,
Yes, exactly.
but then, then you go, oh, I try to like sit up. Okay, my back is super weak.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we don't see those things like sneaking up on us, just like we
Mm-hmm.
don't see exhaustion sneaking up on
Mm-hmm.
us. Now, I know that you've had purple hair for for a lot of years. How many years now?
Like 9 or 10, or I
Yeah, that's a
was,
long time to have purple hair. But you have a lot of symbolism with the color purple. Can you explain a little bit about that?
yeah, purple for me is, I mean, it's my hair color, but it's also a attitude and a mentality and something to strive for. Purple is the color of individuality and authentic self expression. And my name means resurrection. And it's the color of resurrection and rebirth and creating yourself and nobility and royalty and luxury. It was a really hard color to get way back in the day. So um, purple is, yeah, it's an attitude.
I like
it's
it.
striving to be individual and creative.
And I think that's the when you call, like you said, the rebirth,
Hmm.
how how do you find that when people are really just struggling with who they are currently and that they want to make that change, like what are the first steps that you find helpful as far as like giving yourself permission to reinvent and have that rebirth?
I think that the first step that you kind of have to learn and be okay with if you're going to have big transformations in your life is learning how to be okay with where things are. I definitely find that when we fight it and distract ourselves and don't sit with our shit, we don't tend to move through it. We kind of bring it along with us. And so I
Mm.
definitely find that when we're able to really like sit with the uncomfortability of what's going on and be like, all right, this is where I'm at, and I'm totally okay with that. And I'm gonna like be with myself and really get to know this horribleness. Um,
Yeah. Well, what if you're a
that's
people pleaser though? Because you're like, oh,
oh,
people have
I'm
known me.
definitely a people pleaser.
Oh, are you?
Oh yeah, recovering people pleaser.
Well, how do you recover from that? Just because I feel like sometimes that's where people get the most stuck.
I think it's a lot of time and a lot of self awareness. I think once you can identify, like, oh, I'm doing that and these are my habits,
Mm.
it's becoming, I mean, I think self awareness and habit are like the two keys to really transforming your whole mindset on things. But if you can be like, all right, I'm a people pleaser, and am I actually enjoying these things? Like to me, that started to really shift when I would journal about things and be like, am I enjoying these things that I'm doing? Am I actually getting something out of all of these friendships that I have or these commitments that I'm making with my time? Like, how many things am I doing that I'm super dreading? And I think once you can write that out and look at the balance of your life and be like, wow, like 70% of my life is being lived for other people and their opinions of me, that starts to kind of create that mental shift of, I don't want that life. I want to live for myself.
No, but it's tough as a musician, as an artist, and a lot of things are measured by how many listeners do you
Hmm.
have, how many people are buying your stuff, and do you ever kind of like have to? I'm sure you do, but do you find that you have to really snap yourself out of that mentality every once in a while?
It's definitely better for me to not be the one looking at analytics.
Mm.
I definitely can get super caught up in that. And I mean, everything an artist makes, especially when you're spending the kind of time on it and putting the amount of effort into it that I do, it's really tough to be like, damn, this, like, not enough people saw this. But I constantly am reminding myself that like to be happy with the people that did see what I made instead of sad about the people that didn't, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think so.
Um, but it's better for me to not be the one looking at analytics. As far as creating goes, I have never struggled with or been the kind of person that struggles with feeling the need to create to please others. I've always been able to stay 100% rooted in my authenticity as an artist, but I know that that's really tough for people. I mean, I definitely, plenty of people have tried to influence or change what I'm trying to make, but that to me just says they're not my partner. They're not my right fit.
Yeah. Well, good. That takes that self-awareness like you mentioned, and I noticed that when you speak about that you start asking questions,
Hmm.
and I know from experience myself that the asking the questions out loud does help me a lot, like pull myself out of like the current place that I'm at. And any
Yes.
other tricks that you use? I know that
I
you've been exercising. You talked about, I know, hold on. I'm gonna mention this. You talked to me about the how many hours you actually do for
hmm
self-care or you try to do. Tell us about
hmm
that.
First, I was going to say that you mentioned about asking yourself questions, and um, if you can learn how to ask yourself questions in the right way, your body talks to you. So many of our experiences are stored somatically and in our mind. And if you can learn how to journal to basically get your mind and your body to talk back to you. I think that's where change really happens, because when you learn like inner child work and outer child work and find your abandonment wounds and your attachment wounds and all of that stuff, like learning about yourself. Like we all think we know ourselves, but when you really start questioning yourself, you'll be like, "Damn, that's new."
Who's answering?
Exactly. It's your that internal guidance system that we never tend to listen enough to. But I it depends on the day for me, but I have to spend probably about 4 hours of self-care a day to feel good, to feel really good. And that includes like my working out, which is pretty long because I am basically an athlete when I have to be on stage, and baths and steaming my voice and meditating and journaling and tapping and all that stuff, all that goodness.
Yeah, I know a couple of my friends do bodybuilding and they're on the cover of different muscle and fitness magazines, etc. And it just seems like they're always at the gym, but that's their career.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they have to do. And it just seems like, wow, that to have that discipline is really something. So I applaud you for having your discipline time to get that going and
Man,
maneuvering that
I
way.
took the weekend off in DC.
Yeah.
Well, I did walk a lot in DC, but I took the gym time off, and I'm like,
But that's a
I know I'm gonna
discipline
feel it
to
today.
have those off days too, because
It
if you're
is.
talking about mental health here, you can't just keep running yourself into the ground, right?
No, you cannot.
And you turned me on to a podcast. I didn't even know about it, but it's Check Your Head
Hmm.
podcast. What do you like about that podcast?
I love that they're giving up space for musicians, especially to come on and talk about things like self-sabotage and mental health and trauma and PTSD and imposter syndrome. And there's just a lot of great topics that they cover. And I think musicians are interesting people to speak on this kind of stuff, because basically all we do is spend time in our fields a lot more than most people do. So um, yeah,
And
I
it's
think it's
really raw sometimes,
mm-hmm.
and you're really vulnerable because if someone says, "Oh, I don't like that song," but it came from like somewhere deep, I mean, man, that's kind of
Absolutely.
wound.
It's that super sucks. I'm not gonna lie, that super sucks. I I luckily haven't had to have too much of that kind of mean or negative criticism, but it is hard when you spend a lot of time and put a lot of love into something, especially as an artist. It's like exposing your heart and soul. I always liken it to like a little kid bringing you a drawing and being like, "Look, this is what I did." Like that's kind of the inner child feeling of releasing music and content into the world. And when people are mean, it's like hurts that inner child's feelings.
Oh, yeah. We want to do our best to protect our inner child. Do you have a different name for your inner child, or is it the same name?
No, actually, I don't. I don't.
I know some people will name it differently so that they really can protect it.
No, I don't. It's little me.
Awesome. And I know like for just what you've done already, and you're still really just starting
Hmm.
out with a lot of your creativity, and there's a lot of innovation that's opening up too. I just think it's gonna be fascinating for people to follow you. And if you're listening, make sure you look up Anastasia and her work. I'm a big fan, and I want to submit you to the Check Your Head podcast, girl, because you have great things to say, and I think that's your people.
Absolutely.
So this is gonna be cool. So if anyone's listening who knows anybody there, like let them know about Anastasia. I definitely will. All right. So when it comes to, I guess, mental health, where people are in relationships, right?
Hmm.
Like I know you've had, your some of your work sounds like to me that you've been through some relationships.
Yes, haven't most of us.
Yes,
But
and me in particular, gosh, I've been through divorce, right, and being a single parent, and then trying to like get back in there. It's so
mhm,
tough, and nearly like made me lose who I was, like my
mhm.
identity. How about you? Like when do you find that when I guess how you deal with traumas from the past and just things like that? What's the best thing for us to tell ourselves?
Oh man.
Yeah.
um I think really taking one day at a time and being okay with the kind of ebb and flow of that process. Like some days you really feel like you're conquering it, and then some days it's just not. It's just not working. And so, I mean, definitely coming from some pretty toxic relationships. I definitely found myself in a place where I was not listening to my inner voice. And when you do that for a really long time, it kind of stops talking to you. So I've been in the process over the last year or so of finding that again. And a lot of that is that kind of journaling, inner child, EMDR, tapping kind of work. It's daily practice. Like it's not something that you can just hope for the best and hope it heals. Like I don't at all believe in time heals wounds as a saying. It doesn't. I think that if you don't actively get in there and start sifting through your shit, you bring it all along with you, and it influences every relationship and every situation and every opinion you have in your life.
And so you mentioned a lot on the mental and the physical solutions. Do you think that sometimes when we eat certain things too, that does that help us with some of these struggles?
Absolutely. Diet definitely has big time influences on the mind and mental health. The cleaner you're eating and the better your sleep health and all that kind of stuff, the better your mind will work for you.
Have you changed like your particular nutrition?
I have. I reversed a lot of health issues like probably 6 years ago. I reversed hypothyroidism and
What?
really bad eczema and like all kinds of stuff that is kind of I was on medication for, and skin issues and just not feeling super energetic by going completely plant based. But while I was in that relationship, that was kind of asking a lot from me, and there were a lot of factors that I was completely out of control about. I definitely took that diet to an extreme and
Uh,
never ever ever cheated. Like I mean, typically I still try to eat very clean, no gluten, no sugar, no corn, no canola oil, no artificial flavors. Like I'm very strict, and there's lots of reasons for why I am that way, but I wouldn't I mean for 5 years I like never had any white sugar or anything, like completely super strict.
you were
And
like, get away from me with that. Like,
yes, and I think that in itself kind of created negative results for me because I was so stressed and so thinking about it all the time and wasn't enjoying certain things when I travel. And I'm such a foodie.
oh,
So
yeah.
now I definitely try to eat as clean as possible when I'm home. But when I'm traveling, I try to find the best possible vegan food I can.
I like that. I think I'm gonna put it on my post-it note here, like as possible.
Yeah, as possible, the best. I like read every review. There's a really funny photo that my boyfriend posted of me at a concert like last month, and in between the bands I was looking for the best late night restaurants in the middle of the
Ooh.
crowd. I was spending my time during the concert doing that.
You're like, food, food, gonna have
Always
food.
food on the brain.
Do you sing about food?
Not yet, but um food definitely is an inspiration for one of the later songs on the record.
Oh, ooh, I love stuff like that. My husband makes fun of me because sometimes when I like approach like a a food table or like waiter brings some kind of cool looking treat, I start kind of dancing in my seat.
Oh yes, I'm a dancer and a squealer.
I said, "Oh, look, food is coming. Mm-mm-mm." Yay! So squealer, like,
Yes, yes,
food.
absolutely.
I think food is fantastic for mental health, right? Like that's why
It
there's
is. It
comfort
is.
food, you
There's
know?
comfort food. There's the food that makes your body feel super clean and energetic and peaceful. Like when you clean up your diet, your mind is
Ooh.
definitely more peaceful.
Yeah, superfoods, right?
Yeah, superfoods, adaptogens, like the herbs. Like there's so much to dive into as far as food and health goes.
Yeah.
But it's looking at the body in a holistic way, not in parts of, oh, there's the mind and there's the body. It's all connected and all together. And they say that the stomach is like the second brain.
That is true. And then your calf muscles, your second heart.
Yes.
So I know that, yeah, you can't, I like how you said that. You can't really separate mental health. So you
Mm-hmm.
can't be like, oh my gosh, my mind is so cool and powerful, yet like I can't
Mm-hmm.
move because I've like, destroyed my health in other ways.
Exactly. And like that's kind of also how you can hack your mental health. Like if you're not able to, like sometimes I'll get so frazzled or so busy that meditating is just not on the table for me because I'll sit down and be thinking about work constantly and I just can't turn it off. And so that for me is when I would go do one of my workouts and hack my brain that way. Like you can definitely go, one or the other, hacking your brain via your body or your body via your brain.
Ooh, we should do a talk just mental hacks. Like
Absolutely.
that would be awesome. And then when you're I guess you're looking at like a busy week coming up,
Hmm.
and I know you're already scheduling the self-care and stuff like that. Are you good with delegation? Like are you finding that hard? I know a lot of creatives, me included. Sometimes I have a really hard time about like delegation. How about you?
I think I've gotten better at it over time. It definitely depends on who is my option to delegate things to.
Right.
Um, I'm very particular about how things are in everything, but it's pretty nice to. I feel like I right now have a really solid team of people that I can be like, all right, I need you to help me with this. I'm way better now at asking for help than I used to be.
That's powerful.
And saying I'm not doing well with this or I can't do that.
Wow.
Please
Yeah.
help.
And you're starting a community too. I love your new group on Facebook, the A-listers, because I think what I'm seeing is that there's creatives in there, there's other people who can be helpful, right? When you have other things
Mhm.
happening. Tell me about your vision for that.
Yeah, the group is going to be an awesome community of creatives and just cool people that love to support music, where we kind of get a little bit deeper. You get to see more BTS style stuff that I'm not really ever showing
Wow.
everyone else, which is definitely fun. And yeah, we hope to grow that into a community of creatives and collaborators all over the world.
And when you see other creatives like being present and also being able to like talk about certain things, like some things that they struggle with, but then also some of the things that they're loving at this moment or things they want to share, I know that makes me feel better that I'm a part of something like that.
Yeah, definitely.
And for your I guess upcoming hopes, like do you let yourself like really envision what the future would be? I know for some people that can feel dangerous, like, oh no, I don't want to go there because what if it doesn't come true? Like, how do you approach that?
No, I think visualization is incredibly powerful. Before most of my shows, the night before my shows, I will run the entire show through my head and exactly perfectly how I would like it to go. Um, and there's definitely like studies that show that when you visualize something perfect, the going perfectly, it's almost as powerful as actually practicing and rehearsing. So, um, visualization is definitely something that I incorporate. Also, when you I'm a big fan of Law of Attraction and those
Yay, me
books.
too.
And there's a lot of power in visualizing what you want, but the key to actually turning visualization into manifestation is bringing in the feeling aspect of it. And when you visualize, you want to think about it as if it's already happened and feel the feelings of how awesome it felt that those things happened. And when you can do that, you're aligning your vibration with those events going
Yeah.
that way. So,
I'm gonna show you something later because I last year, probably a whole year ago, like I was just looking for some great deals at Macy, and then they had like this free gift with purchase thing,
mhm.
and well, one of my favorite things that came from that purchase was this purple eyeliner. The eyeliner itself is black, but the thing is purple, and I carry it everywhere. Do you want to know what it says on there?
What does it say?
And I'm going to show you later. Anastasia.
Aww.
For real, isn't that great? Like, and it's like I look at it all the time. I'm like, "Where's my purple eyeliner?" Like, I always look for my purple eyeliner. And look, you manifested. So, yeah,
Aww.
it's awesome.
I love that.
So little
I
things like
definitely
that.
think I've manifested all kinds of things into my life.
Absolutely. Oh, I have people look back on my interviews and different things that I've put here in Wisdom. One is a vision board chat, and please, people, listen to that because that's I'm going to tell you how I manifested my husband. So
Yeah,
it's
the
amazing.
manifesting relationships is definitely a thing.
It really is. And I know it's weird for some people because when I was in that space of like not believing in myself and when things were really, really super rough, anytime people would say things like that, I'm like, get out of here. Like,
Hmm.
I don't accept that. What is going on? What about you? Like, were you always very strong in this kind of manifestation, even when you were going through stuff, or was it a progression?
Definitely. I think I was kind of raised to be that way. My dad used to always tell me, and still does, before any meeting I would have or show that I would have, he would always tell me, believe in yourself and others will too.
Oh,
And so I've always been very mentally strong in that way of, you know, I don't know, just
that's fortunate.
just believing that things can be what you want them to be. And even when they aren't in the moment, I've definitely found with how many messed up things I've been through that I actually kind of get excited sometimes when something horrible happens because I know just how much growth potential I can have in that moment and what I can turn it into. And that usually, when you got a really big fall, you are due for a really big rise if you know how to harness it.
Yes, it's like pulling back an arrow.
Hmm.
And then
Absolutely.
when you're ready to release, and if you have that next vision in mind, then it propels you towards that success.
Yeah, and as you know, I'm a little more careful about manifestation after I swear I manifested my plane crash.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, tell that story really quick.
I was on my way to New York to finish writing and recording a song called my first single called Crash Landing. And it was the first song on the record, and then we put another one on first. But yeah, I think I manifested that one
You
because
were writing it
I was
in the
definitely on the
plane.
plane working on the lyrics and reading things, and then the headlines for it were Crash Landing, and I was like, oh, never gonna write about things like this again.
At least not while you're in the plane.
No.
Man, that is such a wild story, but that song, if I find myself listening to it, like it stays in my head the whole day. So I don't know what you did there, but it just
Mhm.
it is a cool earworm. So if y'all need a good earworm, but then I'm thinking, I'm like, I don't want anything to crash because it's in
No,
my
listening to
head.
this song will not make you crash.
Okay, good, thank you. See, I'll remember that.
I already did enough crashing for that song.
That's right. That was her crash, not yours. Okay.
Exactly.
Amazing. Well, this is super fun, and I hope that you would continue to do this regularly with me and for the audience because I just think that you have such great energy to share about creativity, mental health, and just overall just creativity. And I really thank you for your time, Anastasia.
Of course. Thank you so much.
Is there anything final stuff you want to tell people?
Um, Final words, final words. I would say have a good day.
Aw, that's
That's my
impactful.
final words for the day is have a
I,
good day. And if you're not having a good day, that's okay too. Have a good
that
day
is
tomorrow.
have as good of a day as possible
Have as good of a day as possible and eat something that makes you happy.
and imagine your good day.
And yeah, imagine the
Ima-
day that you want to have.
I love it. And then turn on some Anastasia Elliot.
Yes, definitely. And follow on Spotify and Instagram and Facebook and all those things because we have a bunch of cool stuff coming up.
Exciting. Thanks again, Anastasia.
Bye.
Amazing. I just love her, and I promise I will bring her on as regularly as possible. She does have a busy schedule. She's getting ready for a concert and creating other music. And I'm a big believer in supporting independent artists, so please take a listen, especially women artists. Nothing against our other types of people out there, but I just find that, we definitely need to band together and just help each other out as far as like getting support, whether it's through mental health support, whether it's creativity, just anything of the sort. We love you for taking your time to be here with us today. And I look forward to the next time. So until then, this is Marilen Crump. Look me up, hashtag expert dreamcatcher. And I look forward to the next episode. Bye, everybody.